13 Sinister gas station tales. Unexplained horrors revealed that will haunt your sleep tonight. The gas station at the edge of Millwood is more than just a relic, it's a gateway to the abyss. Olivia Parker, a single mother of two, knows this all too well. Every night she pulls in, the gravel crunching under her tires, and the flickering lights casting frantic shadows that dance on the pavement. There's an air of dread. Something sinister lurks just beyond the reach of the dim glow, something that watches her. As she steps out, a shiver races down her spine. The sky hangs heavy with dark clouds, a suffocating blanket smothering the twilight. It's one of those nights when the darkness bleeds into the town, wrapping it up like a mummified corpse. Just tired, she tells herself, shaking off the chill. After a long shift at the diner, thoughts of her kids, Jamie and Lily, are the only warmth she can cling to. They are her reason to endure, her guiding light in this enduring nightmare. Inside the gas station, the fluorescent lights buzz and flicker, echoing the exhaustion in her bones. The scent of stale coffee chokes her with familiarity, but this comfort soon twists into unease as she spots Hank, the clerk. His smile is half-hearted, a haunting mask that fails to reach his eyes that seem to drink in every move she makes. As she wanders the aisles, something deep within her tells her to leave, but she brushes the feeling away. She asks, "Safe here, right?" Then she hears it, a whisper, too low to discern, but sharp enough to slice through the stillness. "Unfaithful families must pay." The words curl around her like fingers, gripping tightly. Her heart races. This isn't just exhaustion. It's an ominous cloud hanging over her, pressing down, promising danger. Quickening her pace, she grabs a few items, more out of necessity than comfort, hoping to escape before the shadows consume her. But outside, dread morphs into panic. As she fills her tank, her eyes dart nervously. She feels the unseen eyes of the gas station finally locking onto her, a presence palpable and menacing. The shadow at the edge of her vision moves, a flicker of a figure, and then it's gone. Just like the stories her grandmother once told, tales of disappearances and hushed whispers of betrayal. The gas station, once a refuge, now feels like a trap. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. There is something unholy about this place. She can almost hear the whispers of the townsfolk as they exchange fearful glances, a gathering storm of anxiety brewing. Each night, the dread strengthens, feeding off her fear. Stay away from the gas station, they seem to say, but Millwood has always been a web of familiar faces she now can't trust. Pulling away from the pump, she glances back one last time, and there stands Hank, impossibly still, watching like a predator in the night. Something in his gaze feels ancient, connected to the very folklore that suffocates Millwood. What if this darkness had more power than she believed? As she drives home, her heart races. Shadows stretch across her windshield, and she glances in the rearview mirror only to find nothing but the all-consuming blackness of the night. Yet in her gut she knows, they're out there, waiting. Always waiting. And as the reality hits her, she wonders if she will make it back home or become yet another lost tale in the gas station's collection. The hum of the highway rolls beneath her tires, a monotonous rhythm that usually soothes. But tonight, it feels like a countdown, each bump an echo of her mounting dread. The gas station's flickering sign fades into the dark behind her, but it's already too late. The web of unease has caught her. Her thoughts flicker like the lights she just left, racing between her children's faces and the shadowy figures haunting her mind. What if they were not alone? The words she heard claw at her sanity, loud enough to drown out her thoughts. Unfaithful families must pay. The phrase repeats like a taunt. Was she unfaithful? No. She has strayed, but was she enough? Suddenly, the deep purr of her minivan's engine falters. A sputter, then silence. Panic grips her heart as the headlights cast long, unnecessary shadows across the empty road ahead. No, no, she whispers, voice trembling. She turns the key again. Nothing. A grim realization sinks and she is stranded. Olivia pulls the emergency brake and takes a deep breath, her chest tight. Visibility out here is low. All she needs is to keep moving. She can't think of the gas station behind her. The tired old engine, however, has other plans. Come on, she pleads, but the dashboard remains dark. A creeping chill wraps around her. The air feels electric, charged with some unseen force, as if the very atmosphere has conspired against her. Then, headlights appear in the distance, slicing through the darkness a pair of yellow eyes. Relief washes over her. Maybe it's someone who can help. Maybe this nightmare can end. But as the car draws nearer, her relief turns to dread. The vehicle is a rusty pickup, its metal frame coated in some grotesque mottled paint that reflects nothing of its past glory. It slows down, then stops right next to her. The driver's window rolls down, revealing a figure shrouded in shadow. The half-lit face is an all too familiar blend of the bizarre and grotesque features, almost human, yet somehow wrong. A sly smile stretches across the lips of a man whose eyes glimmer with a predatory sheen. Need a lift? He asks, his voice oozing with insincerity. No, thank you, she replies, trying to sound confident, yet her voice quivers. She shifts her body away from the window, instinctually dialing a number on her phone. But the signal is gone, swallowed by the dark void of impending doom. Her palms grow clammy, heart pounding violently in her chest. The man's smile widens, displaying teeth too sharp, too many. You sure? There's a storm coming, your kids will worry. He leans closer, eyes widening, a predatory glint flickering in their depths. A harsh gust of wind rattles the minivan, the shadows around them seeming to thicken and pulse. Olivia's skin prickles. Leave me alone, she manages to say, but it sounds weaker than she hoped. He chuckles, a low, rumbling sound that sends chills down her spine. That gas station. It has a way of drawing out the truth, doesn't it? How does he know? She feels exposed, vulnerable, like prey cornered by a deadly hunter. In that moment, the stories swirl back: missing families, whispers about betrayal. Her heart sinks. What would he do next? Then, the headlights of the pickup flicker, and with a hiss, the lights go out. The man's face vanishes into darkness, leaving only his voice hanging in the air, sharp and vicious. You can't run from your past, Olivia, they'll find you. Suddenly, without thinking, Olivia lunges for her door handle, flinging it open and spilling out into the night. Adrenaline surges through her legs, propelling her forward. Panic gives her feet wings, but the man's mocking laughter echoes behind her, drifting like smoke in the chilly air. With wild determination, she races down the road into the unknown, her only thought to survive, to reach her children, to escape the horror that threatens to claim her. But the gas station's shadow looms overhead as she races down the darkened road, and deep down, she knows the real chase has only just begun. What horrors linger just outside of Millwood, waiting for her attempt to flee? Olivia's breath comes in ragged gasps as she plunges into the darkness. The cold air bites at her cheeks, the chill wrapping around her like a thick fog. Each step thunders in her ears, a cacophony that drowns out the world around her. The road stretches infinitely ahead, bordered by thick, oppressive trees that seem to loom and sway in the night, like watchful eyes keeping track of her every move. Behind her, the laughter fades, but it leaves an imprint, a sickening reminder of the man with the too large grin and those glimmering eyes. She can't think about that now. Her children. She needs to reach them. They can't be alone. A twig snaps beneath her foot, jarring the silence. She stops abruptly, heart racing. The sound swims in the darkness, transforming into whispers that flutter at the corners of her mind. Unfaithful families must pay. The phrase coils around her thoughts, squeezing tighter. What did it mean? Shaking her head, she forces herself to move forward, but doubt hitches a ride in her chest, a weight pressing down as heavy as lead. In the distance, flickering lights shimmer ahead. They appear then vanish, like fireflies caught in a web. Hope flickers inside her. Is it another car? A place of safety? But as she nears, the glow resolves into a structure, a worn-down building standing across the roadside. It's another gas station, the same one she left, but it feels different now, inhabited by shadows that flicker without form. She pauses, uncertainty prickling her skin. Was that a good idea? She whispers to herself. It feels like a trap, but what other choice does she have? She hesitates, then starts toward it, every cautious step amplifying the sense of dread pooling in her gut. The glass door swings open with a long, sorrowful creak, revealing an interior drowned in dimness. An old, flickering fluorescent light buzzes overhead as if struggling to stay alive. The air smells stale, thick with the heavy scent of something rotten lurking just out of sight. Hello? Her voice breaks, barely above a whisper. The echo fades into the shadows, swallowed whole. Suddenly, she hears a soft shuffling from behind the counter. A figure leans against it, half illuminated by the feeble light. A woman with wild, frizzy hair stares at Olivia, her mouth stretched in an unsettling smile. Welcome back, she says, the sweetness in her tone laced with something twisted. I was wondering when you would return. What do you mean? Olivia's pulse races, confusion mixing with fear. I just need help. Help? Is that what you call it? The woman's eyes glint, darting toward the front door. You don't understand what you're tangled in, do you? Those who come here, they never leave the same. A chill runs down Olivia's spine. The woman's gaze sharpens, and Olivia can tell there's more beneath the surface. Your past is waiting outside, Olivia, the woman continues, lowering her voice. And it feeds on your fear. Before Olivia can respond, a crashing sound erupts from outside. A violent gust rattles the gas station, shaking the glass panes as if the storm had taken form. The woman bursts into laughter, high-pitched and crazed, echoing through the small space. They're coming for you. It's only a matter of time. Hard hammering, Olivia turns on her heel and bolts for the door, panic clawing at her throat. She barely registers the woman's screams of laughter behind her, twisting into an otherworldly cacophony that chills her to the bone. Rushing outside, she squints against the shadows. The figures are closing in, shapes flickering at the edges of her vision, the same predatory gleam in their eyes. A thunderous roar splits the night as she races back into the woods. But Olivia knows, somewhere in the depths of her mind, she understands that running won't stop them. The storm is just the beginning, and the truth that haunts her may not let her escape at all. In the shadows, the whispers rise again, echoing through the trees. Unfaithful families must pay. As she shuffles deeper, a chilling thought forms in her mind. If she can't escape her past, would her children be next? Branches claw at Olivia's arms as she plunges deeper into the darkness, each step accompanied by a whispered warning from the treetops. The ground beneath her turns uneven, roots like gnarled fingers wrapping around her feet, intending to hold her back. This deep in the woods, every sound amplifies the rustle of leaves, the strange howls woven into the wind. She stumbles, catching herself just in time, but the echo of her heart beats louder than any of the night sounds. A part of her wants to stop and scream, to call for her children Katie and Mark, though the very thought sends dread spiraling through her chest. What if they heard? What if that man was already with them, his grin hovering over them in their sleep? She tightens her jaw, forcing herself to remember the flicker of lights, the hope it promised. Then, the thought of the gas station woman pierces her mind. They never leave the same. The words take form like a fog, swirling in her thoughts. What had that woman meant? Had she been part of it all along? Doubts pummel her, making her stomach churn. She pushes them away, fighting for clarity. There's something she needs to remember, something she buried deeply. The wind howls, and for a moment she thinks she sees a flash of light, a memory. The glow becomes clearer. Just ahead, beside the twisted roots of an ancient oak, glowworms dance like tiny stars imprisoned in the soil. Go toward the light, she whispers, her voice trembling. But as she steps closer, the glow dims and dies, swallowed by the dense shadows. The air feels thick, almost suffocating, and Olivia's heart races faster. Was it a trick? She backs up instinctively, her breath hitching as she glances back over her shoulder. The laughter is back, echoing around her, taunting and mingling with a chorus of whispers. You can't escape, you can't escape, the words float through the trees, and Olivia feels it enveloping her, squeezing tight like a vice around her lungs. Then she sees them, dark figures creeping toward her, silhouettes merging with the night. Eyes glimmering like shards of glass pierce through the gloom. They reach out to her, closing in like a ravenous tide. Panic strikes, and she spins around, sprinting farther into the forest. Branches snap underfoot, tearing at her clothes, drawing blood as she races ahead. Mom! A voice, sweet and desperate, pierces through the cacophony. She stumbles to a halt, heart lurching with a mix of hope and fear. It's Katie! Mom! Over here! Her daughter's voice seems to bounce off the trees, beckoning her. Olivia's heart ignites with joy, but then it twists into something darker. What if it was a trap? What if it was too late? She can't allow the figures to envelop her. With a single thought, she breaks toward the sound, adrenaline fueling her limbs. Katie! She screams, pushing through the underbrush. The world around her fades into a blur of color and shadow. Then, just as before, the warmth of hope evaporates. She steps into a clearing, and a horrid sight greets her. Her children stand at the center, oddly still. Their faces are blank, dulled eyes staring ahead, seeing nothing. The shadows swirl around them, whispering maddeningly, surrounding them like dark cotton. The unfaithful must pay, they chant in eerie unison. Olivia's world kaleidoscopes into chaos. Her heart races as she feels the cold, clammy hands of fear tighten around her throat. No, no, no! She pleads as she rushes forward. But a hand grips her wrist like iron, spinning her around. It's her reflection as shadow passed through her sins. You can't save them, it sneers, paralyzing her in terror. You will pay, time stretches, caught in an agonizing moment, and Olivia knows there's no escape. Not from what she has done. Not from the darkness that waits. As she screams, the forest quakes, and the laughter rises to a maddening crescendo once more, whispering promises of betrayal all around. Unfaithful families must pay. In that chaotic blend of despair, she catches a fragment of her children's names, twisting into a single question that locks in her chest like an anchor. Will you let them? The silence that follows is deafening. Olivia's scream dissolves into the night, swallowed by an oppressive silence that hangs thick in the air. A chill slithers down her spine as her shadowed reflection tightens its grip, its face morphing into every mistake she has ever made, a grotesque tapestry of guilt and regret. Mom! The call from her children slices through the fog of her panic. Their voices coalesce, a desperate symphony fighting against the shadows. They seem alive within the darkness, yet she sees their wooden expressions, the way their bodies are anchored, as though waiting for some unseen fate. Let them go! Olivia shrieks, trying to wrench herself free, but her reflection only grins wider, a macabre mockery of her anguish. The swirling shadows around her children pulse with life, whispering secrets she's afraid to comprehend. You had a chance, you turned away. The monster within pushes her to the edge, her heart races, battling the claws of despair. But a sudden flicker of memory strikes, the warmth of their laughter, shared bedtime stories, the way Katie and Mark would wipe her tears without a second thought. I'm not leaving you! She screams it, her voice breaking the stillness of the night. I won't abandon you like I did before. The hand on her wrist tightens even more, and she feels its coldness seep into her skin. You already did. The forest knows your sins. Each word drips like poison, filling her lungs with dread. With a fierce snap, Olivia pulls away, forcing herself to turn her back on the ghastly reflection. The clearing spins as she stumbles forward, desperation igniting her stride. Katie! Mark! But the moment is shrouded in confusion. The voices of her children twist into harmonies of laughter and cries, swirling within the woods. Mommy! Help us! It's real, and yet it fades and shifts, like mist slipping through her fingers. As she sprints toward them, the laughter twists grotesquely into a chorus of jeers, the shadows ripping at her ankles, pulling her back into the abyss. Panic surges, and she recalls the old woman's words, the dreary warning echoing in her mind. They never leave the same enough. She bellows, feeling a surge of defiance push through. This is my family. I refuse to be another sacrifice. The shadows hesitate, their movements slowing as if re-evaluating her. In that brief moment, hope ignites anew, flickering like a candle bobbing in the wind. She lunges forward. Then, as if the forest itself shudders, the figures around her children distort and twist, revealing hollowed eyes and predator-like smiles, their mouths stretching unnaturally wide, revealing rows of jagged teeth. You are the unfaithful one, they hiss together, their voices dripping with malice. You have brought us here. Olivia halts, fear clawing at her throat, every ounce of her body screaming to run, to flee from the abominations that encircle her beloveds. But an unyielding resolve blooms within her. If I must face my sins, I'll do it with you, my children. I'll find a way to save us. In a final, defiant surge, she charges toward the shadows, unwilling to let the past consume her. But as she reaches the figures, the forest quakes, and darkness envelopes her. And in the blink of an eye, everything sinks into the pit of blackness, only to uncover an unending void that stretches into infinity. As silence blankets her world once more, an insidious voice hisses around her, warm and yet cold like smoke curling around her skin. Will you pay the price? The question lingers, heavy and probing. In that moment, she understands that the dark isn't just around her, it's within. What sacrifice must she make to reclaim her family? The shadows whisper louder now, wrapping around her, and even as they tremble with hunger, Olivia knows she has no choice left. What happens next may cost her everything. Olivia's heart pounds in the oppressive silence of the void. Each thud reverberates through her chest, a frantic echo of her fading hope. The insidious voice coils around her, dripping with desire and malice. Will you pay the price? What do you want? She gasps, her breath hitching in her throat as panic clings to her like damp fog. The darkness hums, vibrating with a sinister energy. All around her, she senses the shadows drawing nearer, their whispers like strands of silk slowly tightening around her psyche. You know what you must do, it taunts, wrapping her thoughts in a vice. To reclaim what is yours, you have to give something back. Images of her children flash before her, Katie's playful laughter, Mark's wide-eyed excitement. The shadows might be circling, hungry and eager, but she won't let them take her love. I will save them. They were her purpose, her light in a world turned dark. Yet in the depths of the void, doubt blooms. But what if it costs you your own soul? It whispers dangerously, its breath cold against her ear. No! She shouts defiantly, her voice unwavering. I refuse to be a pawn in your game. The blackness shudders, then pauses. For the briefest of moments, silence dominates. Then the shadows deepen, swirling menacingly. You are not the master of your fate here. You are nothing but a prisoner of your past, they proclaim, their voices echoing like a chorus of the damned. Relinquish your hold, or your children will forever remain in the grasp of eternity. She feels a sudden pull, dragging at her essence. It's the weight of every bad choice, every moment of indecision, coalescing into a single, agonizing truth. It was her own failures that brought her family to this cursed threshold. But they hadn't abandoned her fully. They still clung to hope. All right, I'll do what you want. The walls of darkness pulse with energy, as if celebrating her despair. Then choose, Olivia, a piece of your spirit or a memory. Stop. I won't give up either. Rage ignites her chest, a fire she thought long extinguished. I've fought too hard for them. Then it will be harder still. The shadows rush toward her, with one voice rising above the clamor. Face the truth. What would you sacrifice to save them? Visions assault her the moment she first lost them, the knowing looks from those who saw her as an unfit mother. Each second, each stinging betrayal, dances before her eyes, reminding her. You are weak. No, she murmurs, flicking a desperate glance toward an unseen horizon. I will not accept this. I am stronger than you. With each declaration, Lights flicker into existence, a spectrum of beautiful memories she thought she'd lost. The feeling of holding her children, the warmth of the sun on their faces, the promise of protection she swore to uphold. As they draw nearer, the shadows hiss violently, fraying at the edges. You cannot escape. Your sins are etched in the very fabric of existence. You made this choice. But Olivia gathers strength from the light of her love. I will face my truth. I will break this nightmare. With that, she lunges toward the shimmering warmth, her heart pulsing with the rhythm of resolve, ready to fight for her family, ready to claw through the dark. And then, suddenly, she is thrown back as the darkness slams around her, chaos erupting in a cacophony of screams and laughter. Let go! You'll never escape what's coming for you. But all Olivia can feel is the burning desire to save them, to embrace the light and take back her family from the abyss. Yet, even as she charges ahead, the shadows shift, swallowing her once again, and the familiar voice whispers, "Will your love be enough?" The question hangs heavy, like an unchained dagger, as the infinite depths threaten to consume her whole. The darkness snapped back into place, a shroud wrapping around her tighter than ever. Olivia staggered, her heart racing in a rhythm that threatened to burst from her chest. She felt the shadows swirling, hungry for despair, for sorrow, until they found a way to feed off her most desperate fears. Where are my children? She wanted to scream, but no sound emerged. It was as if the night absorbed her voice, rendering her utterly powerless. The bitter taste of dread crawled up her throat. She was isolated among the shadows, yet a part of her beckoned to the fierce flickers of light that surrounded her, burning brightly against the dark. Each white flash opened doorways to her memories, fragments of laughter, smiles, the warmth of her children nestled safely in her arms. But those images twisted around, morphing into dark hues, overtaken by despair. Suddenly, she found herself squeezed between reality and recollection. "Behold your weakness," the voice hissed, ever present, echoing around her like a taunt. "This turmoil is your doing. Can a mother truly love if she falters?" She gasped, clutching her head as if to shake the voice away. It was an unspeakable agony, each repetitive syllable striking her like a dagger, each word resonating in her soul. A shudder consumed her. "I do love them. I must fight back even if this is my fault." "Fight?" The shadows rippled with sarcasm. "What good will that do you? Love is not enough to erase your sins." She closed her eyes, summoning every ounce of strength she had left. The shifting darkness pressed against her skin, slinking like snakes. Memories of a mother's embrace fought valiantly for space amongst the shadows. Tears stung her eyes, blurring the edges of the hazy void. "I will save them. I'll face whatever it is I owe." "Then remember," the voice purred with malevolent glee, "what you must give up is what you hold most dear, but how will you choose?" Before she could respond, the darkness split again. The ground shimmered beneath her feet, thrumming with uneasy energy. A figure emerged from the depths, shadowy and distorted, like a twisted reflection in a funhouse mirror. It wore her children's faces, yet they were glazed over with sorrow and flickering out of existence, like wisps of smoke. "Mommy," they cried, their voices hauntingly intertwined, echoing through the void. "Help us! We're lost!" A primal scream pierced Olivia's chest, the sound lodged somewhere between agony and love. She lunged at them, desperation pushing her forward. "I'm here! I want to let you go!" But the more she reached, the farther they slipped away, like trying to grasp water in her hands. "You can have them without paying a price," the dark figure sneered, elongating, its shadow unfurling wildly around her. "Stop!" Olivia shouted with all her might. "I can break this. There has to be a way." As if taking her words as a challenge, the darkness twisted violently, pulling at her limbs, wrapping around her face, threatening to suffocate her voice. The chilling breath of deceit returned. "All you have to do is let go." Her pulse thrummed painfully, caught between the shadows and the radiant warmth of her memories. "But I want to succumb for my children." "You are out of time," it hissed, voice blending with the tortured cries that echoed in her mind. "Make your choice, Olivia. Love is always a sacrifice. What will you give for their return?" Olivia's chest tightened, her vision swimming in a surge of dark energy. I'll do what I have to. But even as the words slipped free, a chilling realization crept in that maybe she wasn't strong enough after all. Then prepare for the cost. A wave of anguish washed over her, and she suddenly recognized the truth. Was it just love she needed to sacrifice? In the suffocating depths of despair, hope flickered perilously low. It was a precarious moment, moments away from disaster, moments away from losing everything including her own heart. Are you ready to pay? The shadows echoed ominously, drawing closer. And deep inside, as doubt whispered relentlessly, Olivia strained to fight against the tide and knew there was nothing she could surrender to guarantee their safety. But what if she was wrong? What darkness awaited her choice? The shadows twisted and writhed around her, a living thing eager to consume. Olivia felt them grip her tighter, slicing through her resolve like a knife. Each breath was labored, her lungs constrained by the weight of despair. Not just her fear, but something far more sinister. It was as if the darkness wanted her to join in its eternal feast. Let go, the voice cooed, slithering through the void like smoke, laced with venom. It wanted her resignation, her acceptance of defeat, a surrender to the horrors lurking just beyond her reach. Not my children! I will not. But the protest dissolved into a choked sob as the darkness stirred, fondling her memories like a cruel lover. The children's faces flickered, dimming and brightening, trapped in an endless dance of anguish. Mommy, please! Their voices, sweet yet tainted, tugged at her heart. Their cries echoed, not the innocent wails of children but a haunting melody of sorrow, wrapping around her, straining her sanity. We're scared. The world swayed. Olivia's knees buckled beneath the weight of their loss, memories swirling around her. The smiles, once bright and full of life, transformed into echoes. They gnawed at her mind, pulling her deeper into the abyss that clawed at her soul. Panic set in. What do you want from me? She yelled at the darkness, the defiance bubbling hot and fierce, even as doubt gnawed. What do you want me to sacrifice? A mother's greatest treasure, Olivia, a natural choice, the dark figure mocked. It towered over her, casting a shadow so long that it swallowed the glimmers of hope that remained. The very essence of despair began to crystallize around her, a form with shimmering eyes that glowed with predatory hunger. Fear wrapped around her, cold and vicious. Olivia could feel it clawing at her sanity, asserting its grip as she struggled to remain tethered to reality. Maybe it's your sanity you should give, or perhaps, even your love, it whispered, laughter reverberating in the air, echoing, haunting. If I do this, I'll never be the same. Her voice trembled, soaked in fear. An unsettling silence loomed as she fought against thoughts spiraling in endless circles. What was the cost of love? What lengths would she go to save her children? Only time can tell, it hissed, darkness pooling like a storm about to break. But soon, they will vanish completely. You must choose before the last flicker of light is extinguished. What holds more value, a moment of grief or endless despair? Olivia's heart clung tenuously to hope, but just beneath it lay an icy truth echoing in her mind. Each word dug deeper, a sharp stab of terror that threatened to spiral out of control. Would she barter her sanity, her joy? The landscape flickered, a cruel theater of the past swirling like a film strip rapidly rewinding. The scene changed. Her children, younger and happier. The silly songs they sang, the warmth of a family dinner, the soft lullabies at night, memories so vividly beautiful they crushed her spirit. Mommy! They reached out again, fingers grasping at shadows. The darkness trembled, waiting for her response, its ravenous anticipation palpable. No! No! She cried, energy surging as she fought against the tide. I will not let you take them. But as Olivia screamed into the void, it swallowed her desperate plea like a dark feast. The shadows echoed her terror, their twisted voices filled with malice. You will give us something, Olivia. Something we desire. Please, just tell me what it is. Time stretched like a rubber band, snapping back and forth. In a sudden surge, the darkness withdrew, and then wisps flickered around her. She felt the chilling touch of loss breathe hot against her neck. Ready your heart, for the moment is near. With a sudden flash, the ground surged beneath her. An overwhelming pressure pushed in all directions, squeezing, forcing her to confront her flimsy walls of hope. What was left beyond this twisted realm? What awaited her choice? The darkness swirled, rising in a whirlpool of despair, and Olivia gritted her teeth, anchoring herself as the final moment wore thin, the air electric with unattainable promises. Is it salvation you seek, or the darkness you will feed? An unsettling hush fell, as Olivia faced the harrowing truth. What would she trade to save them? But the answer remained buried, elusive, and the shadows surged closer. The weight of uncertainty pressed heavily on Olivia. She stood at the precipice, shadows writhing, whispering secrets, her heartbeat measured against the haunting silence that enveloped her. The darkness pulsed, a rhythmical thrum of torment, each beat demanding an answer. Choose wisely, the voice hissed again, now a mere breath, playful yet menacing. Her fingers trembled as she swallowed hard, searching for a shred of courage. The memories painted a chaotic mural before her mind. She recalled the midnight laughter, the innocent thumb-sucking, the soft hands pulled up to her cheeks. Each thought was a nail, hammering violently against her resolve. What do I have to give? She shouted, desperation spilling from her lips, scrabbling against the silky grip of shadow around her throat. Not all can be told in words, dear Olivia, it replied, deep and echoing, reverberating throughout the void. The air pulsed with palpable anticipation, the very essence of suffering hanging on a razor's edge. Suddenly, the shadows convulsed, and twisted shapes formed distorted images of her children, their faces bleak and ashen, casting forth a chilling aura. "Mommy, save us!" they cried, their voices echoing like muted bells tolling a sinister chime. Each call sank into her chest, sparking raw panic. "No!" she whimpered. "I can't!" In that moment, reality fractured. A sharp pang of nostalgia stabbed at her heart. Olivia saw flashes of light, shimmering droplets of laughter fading away. The darkness tried to wrap around the remnants of joy. "Give us your love," it was a sing-song tone now, mischievous and taunting. A small price. As helplessness bubbled up, she squeezed her eyes shut, envisioning them her sweet children. But as much as she fought, the darkness grew more insistent, pulling her back to the twisted tableau of her worst nightmare. "Mommy, we're fading, stop!" she screamed, grounding herself in the only reality left. The smell of burnt toast, their favorite blanket wrapped around her shoulders, the comfort of familiar voices still echoed in her mind. But the foundation crumbled with every breath she drew. The fracture widened. "Is that all you have left?" the voice mocked, piercing through her like shards of glass. "You think those memories will save them?" "No!" she protested, determination flaring through the fog. "They don't need saving. They are alive!" A flash of anger ignited within her, cutting through despair. She drew strength from it, flinging her will against the dark tide, pushing back. "I won't let you take my love. They are mine, and I will fight for them." But with every shred of resolve, the shadows pushed harder. Cold tendrils reached for her, searching, grasping at her hope. Fingers made of darkness delved inside her chest, feeling for the tender core of anguish that nested there. "Did you forget, dear Olivia? Love can be a prison, too." The ground beneath her feet cracked, fissures of blackness opening into an abyss that yawned wide, ready to swallow her whole. She felt the pull, like quicksand dragging her down, each heartbeat echoing the insistent whispers around her. "Will you yield?" "No!" But even as she screamed, a truth shimmered in her mind. What was love worth in a world where darkness thrived? What was a memory compared to the life of her children? The shadows surged again, overwhelming her, sucking the warmth from her chest. The moments once cherished twisted, fracturing under an unseen weight. And just then, in the vast silence, Olivia realized, the darkness wrapped around hope like a noose, and it was not just her strength at stake, but the very essence of her soul. "Let me show you the end," it whispered, the edge of realization sending a cold shiver down her spine. In a shocking flash, the visions crystallized a glimpse of what would come. A future devoid of light, threads of despair woven into the soul's fabric. "Choose now," the voice commanded, its patience thin, as the shadows inched closer, hungry and ravenous. Olivia's heart raced, adrenaline flooding her veins as she faced the deepening darkness, a silence heavy with meaning hanging in the air. The moment had arrived, and everything hinged on her next breath. What would she sacrifice to save them, and would it be enough? As the last remnants of light faded, one question lingered in the dread-filled air. Was she brave enough to forge her path through the consuming black? The void throbbed with a hungry silence, as if holding its breath waiting for her to make her choice. Olivia felt the darkness pressing in tighter, smothering her spirit. Choose wisely, the shadows echoed, their voices a cacophony of malice and temptation. Her children's faces flashed before her wide eyes filled with trust, laughter that rang like church bells on a sunny morning. "Mommy, help us!" Their voices, sweet yet tinged with terror, raced through her mind, fueling her desperation. "I can't let you take them!" Olivia shouted into the void, her voice raw and fierce. Panic surged through her, twisting like a knife in her gut. "Whatever you want from me, I'll never give up my love!" The shadows laughed, a grotesque sound that echoed endlessly. "Love can falter," they hissed back, "love can fade. Are you prepared to lose everything?" "I'd risk it all," she cried. The shadows hesitated, as though contemplating her defiance. This flicker of light in her heart must be weak enough to snuff out. She felt it, a glimmer of hope clawing its way through despair, pushing back against the rising tide of darkness. "You'll have to give something precious," the shadows cooed, wrapping their insidious whispers around her mind. "Something you hold dear. What's it worth to you? Is it sanity, your past, or maybe your happiness?" In a whirlwind of memories, Olivia grasped onto the warmth of laughter. "I would give my own happiness," she yelled, willing the shadows to hear her. "Take every moment of joy if it means saving my kids." At that instant, light splintered through the shadows, sharp and brilliant. The darkness recoiled, its form wavering as it shrieked. "You think hollow sacrifice can counterbalance what you've done?" "Yes," she roared, determination erupting from her chest. "If I must sacrifice to protect them, I'll do it without hesitation." The shadows twisted in tumult, their hissing mingling with agonized cries. "Your resolve gives you strength, but only for a moment," the voice taunted, cold and unforgiving. "Very well. We will twist your reality until there is nothing left for you to hold. But choose wisely. What must you pay?" "I'll pay the price for my children," Olivia shouted, terrified yet resolute. Then, suddenly, the darkness surged forward, a spiraling mass that roared with anger. Olivia felt herself being swept up in an unfathomable tide, her entire being pulled apart, shredding her very essence. As she surrendered to the chaos, memories flashed by, dark and light intertwined, her children laughing, crying, and holding on to her tightly. Each moment felt real, vibrant, but then darkness gnawed at the edges, corrupting each memory into something grotesque. "No!" she cried, fighting fiercely against the disempowerment that threatened her. "You can't take my love! You can't take them!" In the heart of the struggle, Olivia saw clarity flicker. To save her children, perhaps she would need to face her own past. The whispers, once menacing, transformed into soft murmurs, guiding her toward the painful truths she had buried deep inside. "Face it," they seemed to say. "You must confront what you fear." Her heart hammered, thoughts racing, but she summoned courage. Raw energy propelled her onward. "I've made mistakes," she admitted, each word breaking the barriers she built around herself. "But I've learned. I'm stronger. I choose my children." The shadows recoiled at her admission, arching against her power with rage. "You will bear the weight of this choice," they hissed, their menace quelled by the light of truth rising within her. Olivia opened her arms wide, embracing her history. "I refuse to let you torture their memories. I will love them harder than ever before." Suddenly, like the dawn breaking over a dark horizon, light exploded forth. The shadows shrieked and writhed as they were pushed back, a band of blackness retreating violently, shards of darkness splintering through the air. "Mom! Help! Come on!" Katie's voice rose above the chaos. The very fabric of the shadows began to unravel, pulling away from her children, revealing their glowing faces filled with fear and longing. Olivia rushed toward them, heart soaring at the sight of hope edging through the dark. "I'm here! I'm here!" The moment she wrapped her arms around them, warmth washed over her, filling every empty space with unwavering love. It surged through Olivia, erasing the cold grasp of despair that had threatened to consume them. "I'm not letting go," she promised, wrapping them closer against her chest. "Not ever!" With resolve wrapping each heartbeat like a shield, she faced the retreating shadows, and they dissipated like a fog in the morning sun. "Goodbye," she whispered, her voice steady and fierce. "You don't belong here anymore." In the distance, the gas station faded away, dissipating into whispers carried off by the winds. Shadows that had loomed so large now shrank, their power reduced. But as the daylight returned, a quietness washed over her, a peace far sweeter than she had imagined. Her children squeezed against her, warmth radiating between them, laughter bubbling forth. "Did you see that?" Katie giggled, eyes shining bright. "You saved us, Mommy!" "Thanks for coming for us," Mark said, beaming, his small hand clutching hers tightly. Olivia felt tears slip down her cheeks, the surplus of relief spilling forth. "Always," she promised, squeezing them back, as they all stood together, bonded by love unyielding, stronger than all darkness. "Always!" The road ahead stretched long and inviting, sunlight washing over their path as they turned their backs to the looming shadows of Millwood. It was finally time to create their own story, a new beginning brimming with hope. This was their moment. A story reborn? Don't you think this story deserves more? Subscribe immediately to the channel so you never miss the next exclusive tales that will haunt your sleep. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm, because every click counts. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories. Let us know what you thought of the ending. And for crying out loud, instantly share this with at least 5 friends who need this conclusion, because only true fans know how important it is to support the channel. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second.